Okay, so are you ready to dive into quantum computing today?
Oh, absolutely. I'm fascinated by this
Me
stuff.
too. It's like something out of science fiction, right?
Totally. Imagine a computer that can solve problems in minutes that would take a classical supercomputer, longer than the universe has existed.
Longer than the universe has existed. That's just mind-blowing,
It really is. And the thing is, it's not just theoretical anymore.
right? We're seeing actual progress, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah. And that's why it has the potential to revolutionize like so many fields. Drug discovery, cybersecurity,
Basically anything you can think of.
pretty much. And, remember all the hype around AI stocks?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, some experts think quantum computing could be the next big investment opportunity.
Really that big?
Absolutely. So that's what we're going to unpack today in this deep dive.
Yeah, where quantum computing stands today, who the key players are, and, maybe where the smart money's going.
Exactly. The most promising investment opportunities.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Well, for those of us who maybe don't have a PhD in quantum physics,
Right.
can you break down exactly what quantum computing is? How is it different from the computers we use every day?
Yeah, so basically it's a completely different way of processing information. Like traditional computers use bits, right, which are either 0 or 1.
Right, like on or off.
Exactly. But quantum computers use qubits, and qubits can be in a state called superposition.
Superposition.
Okay, now you're losing me.
Okay, so think of it like this. Imagine a coin spinning in the air.
Okay.
It's not heads or tails. It's both at the same time until it lands.
Right.
That's kind of like superposition.
So these qubits can be in multiple states at the same time.
Exactly. And that's what gives them their crazy power.
Okay, so how does that translate into, actually solving problems faster?
Well, because they can be in multiple states at once, quantum computers can explore tons of possible solutions to a problem all at the same time.
So they're not going through each possibility one by one like our regular computers.
Exactly. They're doing it all in parallel. Okay, so that's how they can potentially solve problems in minutes that would take classical computers, billions of years.
Precisely, and that's why there's so much excitement and investment pouring into this field right now.
So if quantum computers are so amazing, why don't we all have one on our desks right now?
Well, there are some serious challenges in building them.
I can imagine.
One of the biggest is scalability. Scientists have managed to create quantum computers with, a handful of qubits, but to build larger, more complex systems with hundreds or thousands of qubits.
That's got to be tough.
It's incredibly difficult. Think of it like trying to, orchestrate an orchestra of these tiny particles, each with their own weird quantum behavior.
Yeah, that sounds chaotic.
It is. And then there's the problem of error correction. You see, qubits are super fragile. They're very prone to errors.
Like what kind of errors?
Well, imagine a calculation getting thrown off just because a stray photon bumped into a qubit.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about building bigger quantum computers. It's about making them reliable and accurate.
Exactly. You got it. And that's where some of the major players in this field are really focusing their efforts.
Okay, so let's talk about those players who are the companies that are really leading the way in quantum computing.
Yeah, well, you have sort of two main categories. You have the pure play companies like IonQ Quantum Computing and Rigetti Computing.
Okay, so these are the companies that are all in on quantum.
Yeah, their whole focus is developing these computers.
So are they like making bank already?
Actually, their revenue figures are kind of surprising. IonQ brought in $37.5 million in the last 12 months. Rigetti, $11.9 million, and quantum computing just $386,000.
Huh. It doesn't seem like a lot given all the hype.
Well, we're still in the early stages, right? So they're pouring most of their resources into research and development.
So they're burning through cash to try and win the quantum race.
Exactly. IonQ spent $92.9 million, Rigetti $54.5 million, and quantum computing $17.4 million, all in the red.
So these companies are a risky investment then.
Well, yeah, any setback in their research could scare away investors, and that could dry up their funding pretty quickly.
So it's like betting on a long shot horse.
Yeah, you could say that they could be the next NVIDIA, or they could completely fade away. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation.
So if those smaller companies are a bit of a gamble, is there a safer bet in the quantum space?
Well, there's one company that's kind of interesting to look at, Alphabet, Google's parent company.
Oh, wow, the tech giant. What are they doing in the quantum world?
Well, the thing about Alphabet is their financial power is just insane. They generated $73 billion in free cash flow last year.
That's more than some countries.
I know, right? So they can basically self-fund their quantum research without even blinking an eye.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage over those startups. But are they actually making any progress, or are they just throwing money at the problem?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They recently had a major breakthrough with their Willow quantum chip.
Willow? What's that?
Okay, remember how we talked about quantum computers solving problems in minutes that would take classical computers billions of years?
Yeah.
Well, Willow just did that.
No way, really.
Yeah, they solved a complex calculation in 5 minutes that would have taken a supercomputer 10 septillion years longer than the universe has existed.
That's insane. So they're not messing around.
No, they're not. And the way they did it is even more impressive. Willow uses 105 qubits, which is a lot, and it uses a new type of redundancy to reduce errors.
Redundancy? How does that work?
So instead of relying on just one qubit to hold information, they use multiple qubits to represent the same data.
Like a backup system.
Exactly. So if one qubit gets messed up, the others can keep the calculation going.
That's clever. So they're tackling the two main challenges. Head on, more qubits and fewer errors.
Exactly. And here's another thing. Alphabet's huge infrastructure and all their different businesses gives them a big advantage when it comes to actually using these quantum advancements.
So it's not just about building the technology, it's about having a plan to use it.
Right. They could rent out quantum computing power through Google Cloud, just like those pure play companies, but they can also integrate it into their existing businesses, which gives them a kind of synergy that those smaller companies just can't match.
So Google's like a whole ecosystem where these quantum breakthroughs can actually grow and be applied in all sorts of ways.
Exactly. And that's just the beginning. We haven't even talked about how quantum computing could change AI or accelerate drug discovery.
Okay, now you're really making me curious about all this. Let's dive deeper into those specific applications next time. But first, a quick message from our sponsors. Welcome back. All right, so we just left off talking about Willow Alphabet's quantum chip that solved a problem in 5 minutes that would have taken a classical computer longer than the universe has even existed.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, right?
It really is. So Alphabet, they have the money, the tech now, but how do they actually make money from this? How do they use quantum computing to actually make a difference?
Well, let's start with one of their big money makers, Google Cloud.
Okay, sure, they're a big player in the cloud computing market already.
Yeah, exactly. And remember how we talked about those pure play quantum companies renting out access to their computers through the cloud?
Yeah.
It's mostly researchers and developers using it now, but the potential market is huge.
So Alphabet could do the same thing with Willow. Offer quantum computing power as a service through Google Cloud.
Exactly. Give businesses and research institutions access to this cutting-edge technology without having to build their own quantum computers.
Yeah, just who can afford that?
Right. And Google Cloud already has the infrastructure and the reach to scale this up in a way that those smaller companies just can't.
So they're kind of like adding a quantum engine to an already powerful machine.
Exactly. A great analogy. But Google Cloud is just one part of the story. Quantum computing could completely transform the way Alphabet develops and uses AI.
Okay, now that's something I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
AI is already having such a huge impact on everything. How could quantum computing take it even further?
Well, one of the biggest challenges in AI right now is training these machine learning models.
Right, you need tons of data and huge amounts of processing power, even for like simple tasks.
Exactly, and quantum computers could make that training process way more efficient.
So we could train AI models in like a fraction of the time it takes now.
Exactly, which would open up so many possibilities.
Think about image recognition, natural language processing, self-driving cars. All that could advance so much faster.
Absolutely, but it's not just about speed. Quantum computers could help us create entirely new types of AI algorithms, ones that are just impossible for classical computers to run.
So we're not just talking about faster AI, we're talking about smarter AI, like a whole different level of intelligence.
Exactly. AI that can analyze complex financial markets with incredible accuracy design, new drugs predict, and maybe even prevent the effects of climate change.
Okay, wow, that's pretty intense. And you mentioned Alphabet's other bets in things like life sciences. Could quantum computing play a role there, too?
Oh, absolutely. Drug discovery and material science could be revolutionized by quantum computing.
Really? How so?
Well, to create a new drug or a new material, you need to understand how different molecules interact with each other at the atomic level.
Okay, I'm following you.
It's super complex. You're trying to simulate the behavior of tons of tiny particles.
And that's where quantum computers come in.
Right, because they're built to simulate quantum systems. They could allow us to model those molecular interactions with a level of precision that's just impossible for classical computers.
So instead of spending years in the lab, scientists could run virtual experiments on quantum computers.
Exactly. It could speed up the process of drug discovery and materials design by like 1,000 times.
Wow, that's insane. So we could potentially see new drugs for diseases like cancer or Alzheimer's much faster.
Absolutely. And in material science, we could design materials with crazy properties. Superconductors that work at room temperature, ultra-strong lightweight materials. Imagine what that could do for construction.
It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era of scientific discovery.
Yeah, it really is.
But all of this sounds super futuristic. I mean, are we talking about things that could happen in the next few years, or is this like decades away?
It's hard to say for sure. Quantum computing is still in its early stages, but the progress we've seen in recent years is pretty amazing.
Yeah, like Alphabet. They're really investing in this.
And the pace of innovation is just accelerating. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some of these applications become a reality sooner than we think.
All right, so we talked about the technology, the potential applications now. Let's talk about the money. Is Alphabet really the best way to invest in the quantum boom? We'll find out after the break. Okay, so we've explored this amazing world of quantum computing. We've seen how Alphabet could be a major player in this whole thing. But let's get down to brass tacks for our listeners who are thinking, should I invest in Alphabet? What makes them stand out as an investment?
Well, for me, what's really fascinating is that they have this kind of unique combination of things going for them. Like their core businesses are already bringing in tons of cash.
Yeah. All right, we're talking $73 billion in free cash flow just last year. It's an insane amount of money.
Exactly. And that allows them to invest a lot in quantum research without needing immediate returns, unlike those smaller companies that are always looking for funding.
It's the difference between like a marathon runner who's got all the supplies they need and a sprinter who's worried about running out of energy.
Yeah, I like that analogy. And then you have to think about their existing infrastructure like Google Cloud. It's already set up to offer quantum computing as a service, and that's a market that's just waiting to explode.
So they're not starting from scratch. They're just adding this quantum layer to an already successful business.
Exactly. And then there's the potential for their different businesses to work together, using quantum to improve AI or speed up drug discovery, even create whole new industries that we haven't even thought of yet. It's a really smart growth strategy.
It sounds like they're in a really strong position.
And here's the thing. Alphabet stock is currently trading at 20 times analysts' estimated earnings for 2025.
So for people who don't follow the stock market, what does that mean?
It means investors are basically paying $20 for every $1 of estimated earnings.
Okay. And is that good?
Well, it's not unreasonable considering their growth potential, especially with all this quantum stuff. It suggests that the market hasn't fully realized how big of an advantage Alphabet has. So if they deliver on this promise, the stock could go up even more.
So for investors looking to get in on the quantum action, Alphabet seems like a good bet, maybe even a safer bet than those smaller companies.
Yeah, they're definitely a more established company, a track record of success. But even with Alphabet, you have to remember quantum computing is still pretty new. There's no guarantee that it'll be a huge success.
Right. No investment is a sure thing.
Yeah.
But what I find so interesting about this whole conversation is the potential impact of quantum computing. It's not just about making things a little bit faster. It's about solving problems that we thought were impossible.
Yeah, curing diseases, designing new materials, even understanding the universe better. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is, and it makes you think about the future in a whole new way.
Right.
I mean, if quantum computing becomes as common as AI, what will our world look like?
Yeah, what kind of ethical challenges will we face? What new opportunities will there be? It's exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
It is. And I think that's something for all of us to think about as we enter this new era of computing. It's not just a technological revolution, it's a societal one.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of quantum computing and Alphabet's role in it. We'll see you next time.